Welcome back to another episode of the Corporate Cowboys podcast. My name is Alex. I'm your host, and I'm joined by your co-host, Alex.
Hey, yo, Alex, is my shit on?
Yeah, it should be, bro.
All right, cool.
Try that again.
Hey, testing.
Yeah, that works just fine.
Alex 1 to Alex 2.
Today's proof of life, it's Friday, y'all. April 28th, 2023.
Almost.
It's Friday. It's almost the weekend.
Shit.
The fucking body knows it.
Oh, my goodness.
And the parties are cropping up left and right.
Fucking shit.
Places that we got to make appearances to as professionals, network,
Yeah.
So, if you're not familiar with the format of the podcast, I mean, we're deep into season 9 now.
Damn.
And this is episode, what is this? Episode 3? Season 9, episode 3. And the further we get into the podcast, the more critical we become, right? So, I mean, episode 1, season 1 was really PG. And then I would say about like episode 4, it was like PG-13.
Ooh.
And then episode, 6 or 7, when we started like dipping into these questions from Reddit, it became rated R. And now that we're season 9, episode 3, I mean, if you're not with the shit already, then you're lagging. Then you're lagging, bro. You're gonna get caught lacking. Ooh. If you're not moving like a corporate cowboy, you're gonna get caught by a corporate cowboy. So let's be real.
You know what it is?
The premise here is that we are corporate consultants in our day-to-day life, legal and otherwise. But the disclaimer is that anything we say across these episodes and this podcast in and of itself should not be construed as legal advice. None of what we say should be taken as promoting wrongful activity or any wrongdoing, right?
That would be wrong.
So unless you've engaged us in a professional capacity or have retained us to be your lawyers or your counselors, I mean, none of this is legal advice. You shouldn't come back and blame us for gangster rap.
It's not my fault, bro. You fucked up.
All right. So today's question, we're pulling this from r/career advice, and that's on Reddit, right? And they're asking, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward question, you would think. And it starts with, I have an in-person interview tomorrow afternoon that I'm excited about. Well, that's good. That's good, right? I mean, like, you're excited for an interview. I'm assuming you've prepared for it some.
Swear, bro.
Here's where the plot thickens, though, is that they're a finalist. So it sounds like they've been through like a round or two, like a couple of rounds of interviews, right? And they've become a finalist. Ooh. They're at the very end. They're about to get hired, and maybe they got one more round, right? They're a finalist after all.
Round robin.
And they say, I've been thinking about sending bagels or snacks to the team in the morning. Damn, not even donuts, bro? I mean, like, donuts are cheaper, but you're gonna send shit that's not even sweet?
They better be nothing.
You're gonna send bagels?
Better be Noah's bagels.
They better be bagel sandwiches, dog. They better come with eggs and bacon. Shit.
Yeah, man. Bagels, bro?
So they say, I don't want it to seem as though I'm brown nosing, but I do want to go the extra mile to set myself apart. Is this a good idea, bad idea? Opinions. And they say they're always open to hearing alternative / safer, quote, safer ideas. Thanks. Alex, what are you thinking? Like, is this
definitely not a safe idea?
The bagels?
Yeah.
What are you thinking? Fucking croissants?
Bagel for a bitch.
Send
bagel for a bitch.
Send breakfast quiche to the whole company and fucking
come on, bro.
try to get hired doing that.
It's just like, all right, like, look, like, you're already in a position where an employer knows you want something that they have.
Right.
A job position.
Yeah.
So, like, what the fuck are you bringing bagels to me for? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're obviously not doing it because you're a good person.
Okay.
You're doing it because you want something and you want to impress me. You even asked in the question, like, you want to set yourself apart.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like you just seem like a very simplistic guy. Like a very easy to read guy. Like, you're gonna bring bagels because you want me to like you. Because why? You don't have anything else to offer besides some fucking bagels?
So then, a more professional way to go about this is to set yourself apart by being a strong interviewee.
Yeah, man. Like, you gotta, like, nothing, like.
I'm sorry I'm asking that question, like, and it sounds so simple. Like, the answer is obvious. It's almost a redundant question, but like, for the listeners that don't understand, why wouldn't I send snacks out ahead of me to like go make the impression for me?
Because you have no confidence. It fucks up your confidence.
Oh, okay.
It fucks up your image of confidence. Like, everybody who wants to hire somebody who's competent and confident in their competence.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're bringing, like, why the fuck are you bringing me bagels on your interview? Because you're not confident in what the fuck you bring to the table?
Right. Okay.
Right?
So it seems like as if you're compensating for something that you could be interviewing for. And instead you're trying to have these bagels or donuts do the talking for you.
Like, know when to give gifts. Like, you don't give gifts.
For sure.
You don't give gifts when you want something.
Yeah.
You give gifts when you don't need anything.
So after you have the job, after you got the job, you probably could, like, as an introduction.
Perfect.
Let's say, like, oh, it's Alex's first day, and like at the end of that week, like on a Friday, you pop through with fucking Noah's Bagels or some donuts and be like, hey, I just wanted to, show my gratitude for being brought onto the team.
Yeah, exactly.
And you pull up with donuts.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's a little bit brown nosing, but it could also just be like, you're a cool fucking person.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the team already. Like, you're not. Oh, okay. So it's avoiding the appearance of bribing them to get on. Like, so because you don't already have the job, I'm not trying to like pitch donuts and bagels at the team, like pretending like that's gonna get me on the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not giving something to get something.
Yeah.
You're giving something because you appreciate their presence, and people can feel that and they can appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so that's really productive to your employment capital, right?
Yeah.
Like your capital within your workplace, right? To have people appreciate your gestures.
That's right.
If you're gonna bring bagels to an interview, how is that improving your capital image within the workplace? It's not. It's just making you look like a outright brown noser. Like a brown noser who is insecure about their own like qualifications for the job.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
It gives off the appearance as if you're compensating for something, where if you truly were a part of the team, then the reason they brought you on is because you contribute something.
Yeah.
Right?
And the thing is, it's like when you're working in a team, it's not that the team is helping you out and you appreciate it, so you're giving to them, right?
Yeah.
It's that you're joining the team because it's multilateral. The team benefits from you being there, and you benefit from the team being there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So when you're trying to like buy your way in, it kind of makes it lose your credibility a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
like,
so then for the sake of argument,
you lose your worth.
So for the sake of argument, right down that line of thought, Alex, when you send these bagels, these donuts out ahead of you, and say you do get hired on for the sake of these fucking donuts and bagels, what about the day you stop bringing them?
Then you're just the fucking piece of shit who you're the incompetent piece of shit.
Okay, I know, I get that, and I was just trying to take that to its finality, where when you start and you join the team because you were I'm not gonna say donating, but because you wanted to put up these bagels for the team, and you get hired because of it. If that's the sole reason you got hired, the day you stop bringing them is the day they don't want you on the fucking team, right?
No bagels,
No team.
No team.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like, so do things like, if you really want to set yourself apart, man,
Yeah.
like, just, you really got to exuberate confidence. And not only that, you got to exuberate the type of person that they want in that office.
I would agree. I think overall that's been a overarching theme of the podcast is knowing how to negotiate, knowing what points and what terms you're negotiating, so that when they hire you on, you both feel like you came out winning. So that if in the first week that you're starting on, I mean, it's worthwhile to come through and bring bagels. Like you are a top dog that they hired on, like that professional that you went in interviewing as comes out as the professional that they hired on.
Yeah. I mean, like, so if you're coming out, man, and you're trying to here's one advice I got. And you got to do your research. You got to figure out what your job industry, wherever you're trying to get hired, what kind of people are they looking for?
Right. Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, like, I did some research, we're out here trying to get, looking for legal jobs.
Of course.
At a certain point, right?
Always we're trying to look for some type of work to pick up.
Yeah. So when we're looking at other jobs or other people to compete with, and I'm talking to other employers who are looking for attorneys, right? They're looking at people like, okay, especially since COVID, right? They've said, all right, look, one thing we get frustrated about is people with this work-life balance idea, right? Like, all these people, they want this work-life balance with Zoom and at-home work, and enjoying their life more. Cool. I get that.
Right.
But that's not what employers want to hear.
Nah, not for the most part. They don't. No.
What an employer would love to hear
is
if I told
you're willing
you
to put your life on the fucking line.
Exactly. Like, if I told you, hey, look, you know why you should hire me for?
Why?
You know why you should hire me, Alex?
Why?
I have no kids. I have no relationship.
Okay. You see, and I'm already ticking these boxes. Like, Alex doesn't really have any anchors to tie him down.
I have no hobbies.
Okay. Keep talking.
I love money.
Okay. I got some of that.
And I want to perfect my craft.
Damn. Well, I got a job for you.
You got to... I'm ready.
Exactly.
And you know what? I know I'm not always going to work 50 hours a week. But right now, I'm ready for the next few years, this season in my life, to dedicate to learning my craft and working for you.
Exactly. Business being war, most every employer who is in a position to hire professionals, they want motherfuckers who are dedicated, who are committed, at least for some committed span of time, that they could use them to train them, that they could use them to employ them for some job or a task that they have for the enterprise, right? Yeah. And don't get me wrong. When you start on and this corporate shit is dirty. After all, business is war, right? If you do have kids, if you do have a family, I mean, in my book, Alex, I don't know how you feel, but in my book, that's having vulnerabilities, because corporate at that point, if you let on too early that you will do what corporate says so long as you receive that check to feed your kids, man, corporate will bend you over and sideways.
This is true.
To get you to do what they want. Why? Because you're receiving a check at the end of the day. But if as a professional, you set yourself apart, and not by sending bagels, you set yourself apart as a negotiator, as a consummate professional, someone who was capable of evaluating their own self-worth.
Yeah.
Right? And getting their worth in paper, getting their worth in the check, getting their worth by whatever compensation plan they're able to negotiate, then that elevates the individual, that's the individual professional, to the level of corporate, where, I mean, you're not necessarily working just for corporate, but you're working with them.
Yeah, and I mean, you just got to make them hear what they want to hear, right?
Yeah,
that's what they want to hear, right? And I told Alex everything that he wanted to hear, but in my head, really, I'm like, yeah, for sure, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna get this craft, I'm gonna work hella hard, but at the same time, I'm not working for Alex.
Exactly.
I'm working for me.
Exactly.
Every day I work, I'm working. It seems like I'm working for Alex, but I'm really working to hone my craft so that one day I can move beyond Alex's paradigm and influence. I can branch off on my own and find my own hustle.
Exactly right. And
you know
in an ideal world, I mean, in this hypothetical Alex, I hired Alex. Why? Because I understand he has that motivation. He has those aspirations to move like a consummate professional, to move like a corporate cowboy, to be creative in how they're going to get ahead in corporate, right? So if I'm the one hiring them for a job, it's because I need them. It's not because Alex just needs my money and just needs the benefits that come with it. No, it's because at the end of the day, we agree to work with one another. So if and when push comes to shove, you want someone in your corner. You want someone in your corner that you know you brought on because of their skill set, not because they came out of their own pocket and sent baked goods to the company, right? Like that doesn't do a whole lot. I could do that myself, and I can write that shit off.
And you know, it could mean something at the right time, but not at a time of like you don't like at a time of vulnerability. You don't show how insecure you are.
Right.
You show how confident you are.
Exactly.
And at a time of power and influence and opportunity, you don't show your confidence. You show your compassion.
I would agree. Absolutely. And that would be after you get hired on. So if you plan on sending bagels out in front of you, it's because
you're a stupid fuck.
You're not confident. You're not confident in your ability, or you're not confident in your professional repertoire, let's say, right? And you might be a newbie. You might be a novice. This tactic might be something that has worked in the past, where, I don't know, if you're going into college and someone says, hey, Alex, come through, we're having a party or something. I mean, you're not necessarily being interviewed for the party, but you feel inclined to bring a fucking 12 or a 24 or a 30 rack of beers or some shit, right?
Yeah.
This isn't that.
No.
A corporate job, they're interviewing for what you can do, not what you can bring.
Yes, sir.
What you can bring comes later on, but what they're interviewing you for is a job, specifically what they outlined in whatever job listing they posted, and how you applied and how you're interviewing now.
I would agree.
So, that being said, is it a good idea or a bad idea? I would say it's a fucking horrible idea.
Terrible idea.
A fucking horrible idea. And just moments ago, when I had suggested to Alex this prompt, this title for a podcast episode, I mean, I did come off and say that, well, if you got the money to throw away. But
you did say that, that's true.
But most interviewees, if they're interviewing for a job, it's because they want the job and they don't have the money to just fucking throw around like that.
Yeah. I mean, like,
if you got the money, if it's pocket change to you to pull up with bagels and donuts or coffee or whatever, like for the team. I mean, like,
and you got if it's for a job where you're getting paid like $300,000-$400,000 a year, like,
yeah,
okay, maybe you're right.
Bagels probably don't amount to much.
Yeah, it's not like you're buying them; you're just being considerate.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So the higher the paying the job, the less it seems like, a bribe and the less insecure you look.
But even then, Alex, tell me, yes or no, would it not depend on how much you know about the company? Because if we're talking about a gig that pays 300 or 400,000 a year, I mean, wouldn't you assume that a firm of that magnitude already has some type of budget, already has some type of kitchen even on site that has bagels or has breakfast pastries and that shit, right? So true. it's like at what point does it become brown nosing? I mean, really, if you try to compensate, and it really comes back to compensating for what you should be interviewing for. But if you're compensating for what you should be interviewing for, then really you should be asking yourself if you have the qualifications to even follow through with the interview. Because if you find yourself having to set yourself apart only by what you can buy in terms of bagels or snacks or breakfast for your interviewers, then the technical expertise that you need to interview for the job probably isn't much. Probably is not much. And
probably not.
I would definitely fear not getting hired because of it. If anything, I would turn around and study what it is that you actually need to interview for and not what you can buy. I mean, because then any other person in their right mind could say, well, then fuck bagels, I'm gonna pull up with McGriddles. fuck bagels, I'm gonna pull up with fucking Denny's Grand Slams for all my interviewers. Right? Oh, and does that mean they get the job even if they don't know what the fuck they're interviewing for?
You just look stupid.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense.
You know what would be smart? Is if you, maybe not people you work for, but maybe like if you're applying for this company, maybe there's other companies that compete with that company.
Okay.
Or other companies in that same industry. And maybe you hit up professionals that you can talk to, have lunch with, not ask a job for because you already have a job interview.
Yeah.
But just ask about the job industry. People love talking about their job. And so then you could kind of try and get an idea of like, what's the job about? What are people looking for? Like, what are some of the things that employers hate?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, actually research the field. Like, don't spend your time buying bagels, bro. Spend your time trying to figure out how to be an asset to the team.
Oh, for sure. For
you know what I mean? Like, how to be the best team player you can be.
Absolutely.
Or at least how to look like the best team player you can be.
Absolutely. And I guess
that's what really sticks out.
If you're interviewing, you see, I guess it goes both ways, really, because an interview really should be going both ways. The interviewer should be asking you questions about, well, what qualifies you for the job? And then you, as the interviewee, as a professional, looking out for their own best professional interest, should also be asking questions about, like, well, what does opportunities for advancement or opportunities for promotion look like?
That's
right?
True.
Right? So if it really gets to that and it becomes more informational than evaluation, then I don't see why paying for some bagels or a snack would be viewed as negatively. But that's only in the context of it being informational. If a job isn't tied to the end of it, then really you just become a social researcher. And that's what we've done in the past is audit organizations, right? Where we're trying to figure out what the hierarchical dynamic looks like, where we interview people at the bottom, interview people at the top, and then try and meet where their power intersects in the middle and what type of control they keep. And that's how you identify opportunities for growth and opportunities for creativity, opportunities for further development. But I mean, it doesn't come at the end of a fucking bagel.
No, sir.
I mean, it comes with professional interest. So if, again, you're interviewing for a job,
Be
then
deeper, man. Be deeper.
exactly. Don't don't be shallow. Shallow as a bagel. A bagel doesn't go as far about as like cream cheese.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Come on.
Definitely dig deeper. If you're interviewing for just information, then yeah, I mean you're being perhaps considerate in taking their time to interview them, but you are necessarily in control of that situation. You are interviewing them, and so being considerate with a bagel or some snacks wouldn't hurt your case because it might incite more in-depth information for what you're seeking. But yeah, as far as that becomes the difference between employment and investigation, right?
Yes, sir. Beautifully said.
So let's take a look at maybe one or two of these comments here. And before we continue, just want to give you a heads up. If you find yourself in a similar situation as our hypothetical client here, or someone who is an associate, a friend, or a family member, you can refer them over on to us. And our rates are more than reasonable. We can help you with anything from contract interpretation to negotiation to strategizing corporate movements up the corporate ladder, right? It takes another perspective. If you find yourself in a rut or inside of a box, we'll help you think outside of that bitch. And it's you can find us on Instagram at Corporate Cowboys with a Z. On Patreon, it's the Corporate Cowboys Podcast. And there are a couple of links available for donations if you would like to help keep this podcast free for others to listen to. There's a Venmo, PayPal, a Cash App available.
Cha-ching,
And if you want to write to us or send a gift, that's P.O. Box 3372, Rancho Cordova, California, 95741.
Hands together. Bless you, child.
That's right. That's right. So the first comment here reads, in regards to the whether or not it's a good or a bad idea to send donuts ahead of your presence, right? I don't know. I laugh at the idea. I laugh at the idea, right?
Send donuts ahead of your presence?
Yeah, send bagels. Send bagels or donuts. I mean, they're round. They got a hole.
Yeah.
So bagels or donuts.
Yeah.
Where if I'm interviewing, let's say with for the sake of argument, let's say I'm interviewing for, fuck it, McDonald's. That's super basic, right? But I'm interviewing for their administrative department, like in human resources or legal department, right?
Yeah.
And before the interview, I want to send them bagels. You laugh. No, well, you laugh. But our hypothetical client is in that exact situation, whether or not they should send bagels. What? Because Alex is coming through town. Hey, Alex is in town, so watch out. He's gonna fucking send poppy seed bagels and blueberry bagels for you to remember him by. Nah, it makes no sense. It makes no sense unless you were interviewing them for something more scholarly, something academic. If it's just like an investigative interview, I would say don't jeopardize your prospects of getting hired with the appearance of bribing them with baked goods. Don't do it.
This is not a good look.
It's not.
Not a good look.
And the first comment kind of says that. It says here LPT. That's what is that? A life pro tip. LPT, right? Life pro tip.
Oh.
Your lawn should be green in more ways than one. I mean, that's a pretty shitty piece of advice.
Your lawn should be green in more ways than one.
Yes. I understand what they're trying to say, but the way the way they just posted it on its own, that's a life pro tip. Your lawn should be green in more ways than one, and that is, it shouldn't be green because you brought bagels. It should be green because you are a strong candidate for the position, and you interview like a motherfucker.
See, that doesn't even make sense.
Why?
I don't like that because it's like, okay, you shouldn't. He's not saying that you shouldn't emphasize the fact that I'm trying to bribe you. He's saying that shouldn't be the only thing that you should emphasize, that I'm trying to bribe you. And I'm saying,
Okay.
and you're saying, is that you shouldn't do it at all.
Well, I mean, we could be the devil's advocate, right?
It's a stupid analogy.
But we started off with the idea, or we started off with the premise that the interviewee, right, the applicant, is applying to this position only because like they don't have money, like they're wanting to get hired in order to make money. So, I mean, what's to make us think that they even fucking have money to buy bagels, right?
That's true.
I was saying earlier, like, if you have the fucking change to throw away like that on a box of a dozen Krispy Kremes or a dozen Noah's Bagels with the works, right? Fucking egg sheet and bacon and lox and just the works on it, right? If you have the money to throw away, then do it. It still does not guarantee you getting hired.
I bet you if
you could buy breakfast for the interview panel and interview poorly and not get hired.
I bet you if you had the money to throw away like that, then you wouldn't throw it away like that.
You wouldn't be interviewing like that.
You wouldn't be interviewing like that. You have so much confidence, you'd be like, why the fuck do I need to buy them bagels?
Exactly, but
I'm a baller, Alex.
That's too reasonable. That's too logical.
I'm a fucking baller. What do I need to buy you bagels? Bitch, you buy me bagels.
For how
I make millions.
For how the hypothetical client laid it out for us, they make it sound like they're trying to buy themselves, like they're trying to buy their way in to their good graces, right?
It's just.
But if that were the case, if they already had money, say they were a trust fund baby, just for the sake of argument, right? Yeah. Then like buying bagels is not even a big deal. Like
it's for very small niche people who are trust babies.
Very small niche.
Very small niche people who are trust babies.
That's right.
You know? Like, okay. Yeah, maybe it's not a lot for you, but nobody likes you anyways because you're a trust baby. So even if it is you, we're not gonna like you because you're insecure or because you're a trust baby.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like not a good look either way.
No, not at all. So either you learn to carry your own water,
like,
sorry,
trust babies, but you guys hide yourselves anyways because you know that nobody likes you.
Exactly.
They're envious.
Yeah. I feel like there is a lot of stigma that comes with being a trust fund baby, and that is that a lot of trust fund kids, they're not really exposed to having to fend for themselves or advocate for themselves, right? So they think being a trust fund kid, I mean, if they can provide bagels or a snack for somebody else, that they'll have preference with them. And that's not always the case. Not at all.
Employers tend to be the exact opposite. They don't want somebody that they need. They want somebody that needs them.
Very aptly put. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, like, sometimes you got to play a part.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes you got to make your boss feel like he's the fucking man.
Yeah.
And not because you're brown nosing, but just because you add a little extra oomph to everything.
Put yourself in that interviewer's shoes. Put yourself in that in your boss's shoes, right? You want someone who paid their way in, where the next time you need something done and you ask them for it, they're gonna say, nah. Mm-hmm. Right? Because in their mind they have this this conception of having power over the team because they never actually interviewed for the position. They bought their way in with bagels. Right? So they have this false sense of valuation that these bagels might be tied to a higher, what's the term I'm looking for? A higher valuation than their actual technical or professional expertise that's required for the position, right? They think they can just make up for it or compensate for it with bagels. And that makes no sense because for the sake of argument, when the bagels run out, what? They're just gonna get let go? What? They're no longer a valid employee?
You ain't a bagel, bitch. You
Exactly.
just a bitch.
Exactly. And if bitches ain't nothing but hoes and tricks, they're gonna get kicked to the curb because they're out of bagels.
Yeah, out
The
of
fuck
bagels.
the fuck you want them for?
What you here for, bitch? You ain't got no bagels.
All right, that about wraps up this episode here, and don't hesitate to reach out to us again. Alex, any last words?
Hey, man. Peace, love, respect.
Absolutely. Do it moving like a corporate cowboy.
All my niggas named Alex out there.
If you need advice, you can hit us up. That's what we're here for.
Yes, sir.
Take care. Have a good one.